The LIV Golf Invitational Series has taken the sports world by storm. They have guaranteed Phil Mickelson at least $200 million to play in the new league. And former world number one Dustin Johnson also signed a deal worth at least $125 million. Not only does that guarantee both golfers more money than they've made on the PGA Tour in their career, but it represents more money than any single player has made on the PGA Tour in history, including Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer of all time. It's truly a mind-blowing amount of money, and it's really just a peek behind the curtain of the LIV Golf Series. So the real question becomes, is this league legit? Why are they doing this? And does it have the opportunity to change the sports landscape forever? Let's take a look. The LIV Golf Invitational Series is an upstart professional golf league run by CEO Greg Norman. Greg Norman is a former world number one, two-time major champion, and a Hall of Famer. The league is financially backed by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, which is the world's sixth largest sovereign wealth fund with nearly $600 billion in assets under management. And the league's format is completely different from what we see on the PGA Tour today. There will be 8 LIV Golf events this year, with tournaments all over the world, including London, Portland, Boston, Chicago, Jeddah, and Miami. And while the primary focus is still on individual stroke play, there is a team component, with captains selecting 4-person teams each week via snake draft. But the biggest story behind this league is undoubtedly the prize money at stake. The LIV Golf Invitational Series is guaranteeing every single player that competes in one of their events a 6-figure payday, with 48 players competing in each event for $25 million in prize money, over 54 holes of stroke play with no cut. And here's the current list of players with their official world golf ranking. You have the big names like Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Sergio Garcia, Lee Westwood, and others. But at the end of the day, you also have a bunch of other players, some of which don't even play on the PGA Tour. So there are a few different ways to look at this. Of course, some people will see that Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund is bankrolling the project and immediately condemn anyone that is participating. I get that. The Saudi regime has spent billions of dollars over the last several years on everything from Premier League ownership to Formula One race hosting in an attempt to clean up the public image of their country. The common term for this is sports washing, which is defined as the use of sports to present a sanitized, friendlier version of a political regime or operation. And the reality is that this is quite obviously a money-losing operation. You can watch the LIV Golf Series on their website, on Facebook, or on YouTube, but they don't currently have any TV deals in place, and there's no way that they can pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in prize money through sponsorships, merchandise, ticket sales, or other revenue streams. But I do think it's important to note that this puts the PGA Tour in a uniquely dangerous place. Why? Because LIV Golf has a bottomless pit of cash that they aren't afraid to spend, and PGA Tour players are acutely aware of the financial differences between the two leagues. For non-golf fanatics, you may not know that PGA Tour golfers are not actually employees of the PGA Tour. They're independent contractors, and they're not guaranteed a specific amount of income. Sure, the top players have 7-figure sponsorships, but those are the top players. Everyone else has to show up every single week, play well, make the cut, and try to earn some money. Take someone like Tiger Woods or Brooks Koepka, for example. If they miss the cut at a big tournament, once you count up travel and lodging expenses for themselves and their families, there's a good chance they actually end up losing money that weekend, despite their star power playing a considerable role in the promotion of the tournament. So not only is LIV Golf offering higher overall purses to every player competing in the tournament, but in the case of Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and maybe even others, they're offering hundreds of millions of dollars in guaranteed income before they even step foot on the course. That's completely unheard of, and it undeniably flips the current model that the PGA Tour is running on its head. I mean, just look at these numbers. Phil Mickelson has made $95 million throughout his entire career from the PGA, and he'll make $200 million in guaranteed money from LIV Golf. Dustin Johnson is more of the same, bringing in $75 million over his PGA career and being guaranteed $125 million from LIV Golf. But the big-name golfers aren't the only ones that are benefiting from this. Take this weekend's tournament in London, for example. Even the person that comes in last place, dead last, gets $125,000 in income, guaranteed. That represents a significant amount of income for someone who may not even play on the PGA Tour today. And here's how the rest of the prize money will be split up at LIV Golf events. First is individual prize money. The top 10 people will make between $4 million and $560,000 in each event. Then the remaining players, called 11th through 48th, will make between $540,000 to $120,000. And then there's also a team component to this. Remember, players are split up into groups of 4. The first place team will split $3 million in additional prize money. The second place team will split $1.5 million in additional prize money, and even third place will split $500,000 in additional prize money. Now, the PGA is not very happy about this, of course, and Commissioner Jay Monahan has made it clear that tour players must pick between LIV Golf and the PGA Tour. But there is one interesting caveat to all of this. The 4 major championships are not actually run by the PGA. They have their own separate governing bodies. And maybe they end up sticking with the PGA's decision not to allow LIV Golf players to compete. But the US Open has already decided against that, and maybe other majors will follow. Here's what the US Open had to say about their decision. "We pride ourselves in being the most open championship in the world, and the players who have earned the right to compete in this year's championship, both via exemption and qualifying, will have the opportunity to do so," they said in a press release. "Our field criteria was set prior to entries opening earlier this year, and it's not appropriate, nor fair to competitors, to change criteria once established." So it'll be interesting to see how all of this plays out, and there are still many questions left to be answered. For example, there are now reports that Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed will soon announce their intention to join LIV Golf. So how many other players will join Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson? How many people will watch each tournament? What kind of punishment does the PGA end up handing down to some of these players? And is this model even sustainable, even for a massive sovereign wealth fund like Saudi Arabia? Only time will tell on some of those questions, and ultimately, everyone needs to decide for themselves whether these players are making the right decision, both financially and morally. But there's no doubt in my mind that LIV Golf has found a chink in the PGA's armor, and it will be fascinating to see how this plays out in the long term.